and welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to create a stitched card, and I love stitching details on a card. I think they really add a lot to a card, but I think there's a misconception that they have to take a lot of time. And while of course you can add loads of details and loads of different stitches and stuff and create them as like a labour of love, I do think you can create kind of a quick stitched card as well. So we're going to do that today, and I'm going to tell him how long it takes to create, and we'll see how quick it is. So I'm going to use this stitching die of the month from Spellbinders, and we're going to create this cute snow globe. So I've already die cut my pieces, but it only took a couple of minutes to die cut, and I'll add that time on at the end too. So I have cut one piece just using the outside of this piece in white, and I've also cut this piece in blue so that the white shows through using both of these pieces. Then I've used both of these pieces to cut this tree. I've used this piece here to cut this to go down the bottom, and then I've used this piece together with the Merry and Bright to create this. There is also a sentiment saying sending cheer that you could use instead. Base of the tree, I've only used the outline. I've not used the stitching detail piece on here, and I've used this star for the top of the tree as well. So for this card, I'm going to do the stitch details that I really think make the biggest impact. So we're going to stitch the tree, and we're going to stitch this piece on the bottom here, but there's this that you can use instead of the star for the top of the tree, but that's more stitching. And I could have added this stitching piece to the base of the tree as well, but I don't think those are going to add a lot of impact, but they are going to add time. So I'm going to just have those as the plain pieces for this card. So I'm going to do all of my stitching for this card in this gorgeous gold lame thread. And if you're not familiar with embroidery thread, it comes in strands. So I'm going to take 2 strands off the thread, and then I'm going to start with this base piece here. So I'm going to thread this through, and then rather than messing about with trapping this piece of thread at the back under our other stitches, I'm just going to tape it down to the back. So you can see we have a pattern going there. All of the Spellbinders dies have embossed lines where your stitches are intended to go. So we're going to go from this top piece here into this one at the side. Then we can go up here and back into the top, and then along to the next one and back into the top, and then along to the next one and back in. And then this is the final hole for this part of the pattern, and then we'll just go back into the top again. So then I'm going to go along to the next section of the pattern, and I'm going to do exactly the same all the way along there. So then I'm going to secure the other end at the back there and just chop off that end. So then that's really pretty, and you can see that the stitching really gives a bit of impact there. And then we're also going to add some stitching onto our tree. So again, I'm going to use 2 strands of thread. I'm going to come in here, and again I'm just going to secure it at the back with a piece of tape. And on this one you can see we've got embossed lines right to the top, so we're going to do huge big stitches that are going to take next to no time. Then we're going to go back down to the next hole at the bottom and back up into that top hole. Now I'm going to carry on across all those bottom holes. Then there's our cute tree. So that's the stitching done, and like I said, we've focused on the pieces that make the biggest impact, and now we can make up our card, and it's going to be really quick and simple. So I've got a pink card base. This piece I've cut to 4 by 5¼ inches, and I've just embossed this with the embossing folder of the month for October. which is just this really nice kind of diamondy pattern. And I think this is a perfect kind of generic embossing folder that you can use for pretty much any card throughout the year. So I'm going to glue that onto my card front. So then I'm going to glue these two pieces together. And then I'm going to add on this piece at the bottom. And then this merry and bright piece goes above it. And I think I'm actually going to use foam pads for the tree base and the tree. And I'm taking the backing off of the double-sided tape because you don't want your foam pads to stick to the tape backing because they'll just fall right back off again. So then we've got our cute snow globe. And I forgot to add on the little star, so I'll just add that on now. And I think I've changed my mind at the last minute, so I'm going to show you that on there so you can see what that's like. But actually I've decided to go a little bit more clean and simple and just go with a plain white card front, which I think looks really cute. So I'm going to add that on some foam pads. And then there's my finished card. So I've created that in 31 minutes, even with a bit of messing about with the other card blank. So I think it's safe to say that if you didn't do that messing about, then it's a 30-minute card, which I think is really good for something that's got all that kind of stitching detail. It's really pretty. I'd love to know if you already stitch your cards or if you're going to give it a go. Let me know in the comments below. So I really hope that you enjoyed creating today's card with me. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.